the 1980s, in a very deserted place, Lop Nur, China suddenly launched a military action unprecedented in history. A large number of People's Liberation Army received orders from the central government, forcing them to find a very important person in the shortest possible time, that is, paleontologist Peng Jiamu. During the period of half a year, the desert underwent 4 comprehensive searches on a large scale, causing nearby residents to wonder what kind of researcher this is, and yet so important to the country. And why would such an important paleontologist come to this desolate desert with no people? In fact, this desert is really not an ordinary desert. 2,200 years ago, a very prosperous country was founded here. That is Lulan Kingdom. This country was built on the first Silk Road in the world, so it became rich. But then suddenly it mysteriously disappeared along with the flow of history at its most prosperous. This makes people curious. Could the disappearance of the ancient kingdom of Lulan, and the disappearance of the other paleontologist have anything to do with each other? Today let's talk about the Pisces Jade, clue regarding one of the most mysterious disappearances in history in China. The disappearance of Peng Jiamu. Hello friends, on a very ordinary night on June 2, 2009, an article was posted online, and since then, a long-buried history has been revealed. Kick back. Turns out zombies really do exist. That day, an idle netizen posted an article on a fairly famous Chinese forum. The person who posted this article at the beginning mentioned, he knows that during World War II, many countries invested in researching supernatural events. He is very curious whether the Chinese government has established research units related to this field. As soon as the post was posted, people started commenting back and forth about the rumors they knew, and then a very attractive comment appeared in front of everyone's eyes. A person with nickname Hanster said, "Actually yes, but for security reasons, please understand I can't be specific here, but I can suggest to everyone, get to know a person named Peng Jiamu." The reason why China established special departments related to supernatural events. It is because it is related to the disappearance of this person named Peng Jiamu. But still saying that, I can't say much. If people want to know the truth of the matter, they can only link and reconstruct the event by themselves. From some available data, I can only say that Peng Jiamu's disappearance is by no means what was officially announced. Unexpectedly, after this comment, someone actually made some important data and reconstructed the past event. The most legendary in Chinese history. All of this comes from a mystical country that people think it doesn't exist. At the turn of the last century, a Swedish explorer, Sven Hedin, was passing through the desolate Lop Nur. By accident he discovered a large amount of wood carving pieces. Since Sven Hedin was a child, he received a very good educational environment, which made him know at a glance, these sculptures are all very fine handicrafts. At that time, a kind of intuition told him that the sculptures in front of him were very unusual. The following year, Hedin organized an even more professional survey team to excavate. And then not long after, an ancient city buried in the desert for thousands of years, once again appeared before everyone's eyes. Through the judgment of experts, this ancient city is the very famous Lulan Kingdom in history. But because the ancient city is located in a desolate desert, then 2 consecutive world wars caused the archaeological process to be interrupted. However, the disruption of professional archaeology makes longtime grave robbers see opportunity. They constantly organize groups to come to dig for treasure. Everyone wants to discover treasures and make themselves rich overnight. It is not unusual for such things to happen. After all, it's been a long time since things like stealing antiques from all over the world have existed. But the strange thing is, between 1957 and 1962, nearby residents discovered, those who come here to dig treasure, usually after only a few days will fall into an extremely frenzied state. They just kept running, even though their feet were covered in blood, let the blood flow like that and kept running. In the process, there were some strong young men in the village who tried to stop them, but these crazy people were very strong. In the end, the village head had no choice but to let them ran until they suddenly died from exhaustion. Due to the period of 1960, China is in the midst of 3 years of great famine in its history. And then there was the Great Cultural Revolution. So this incident was temporarily buried there. It was not until the 1980s that China began to pay attention to this particular event. And then a professional research organization was secretly established. Peng Jiamu is a famous Chinese biochemist who specializes in paleontology. That year, he suddenly received an order from the central government, asking him to go to Beijing immediately. Upon arrival, Peng Jiamu was taken to a secret underground laboratory. There he saw a few pictures and the bodies of some people who had died tragically. The leader told Peng Jiamu, "According to the results of the autopsy, these people are believed to have eaten something very special before they died. Leaders hope Peng Jiamu can determine what those things are, after all." After checking, Peng Jiamu said to the leader, "In the stomachs of the dead, there is a very special plant. This plant is very rare, growing only in the Gobi Desert in Asia. Usually in remote desert places, some people often fight hunger with this plant. But the difference is that on the plant that the leader provided, there was a bacteria that even Peng Jiamu had never seen before. According to research by Peng Jiamu, once people eat this bacterium, they will lose their reason, will stop eating until they are exhausted." After hearing Peng Jiamu's report, everyone present was amazed. The leader immediately picked up the red phone on the table. But it was not an ordinary phone. Only when something related to the safety of the country arose, it was used. It is known that once this phone calls, it will connect to the top leadership without any obstacles. In May 1980, an investigation team led by Peng Jiamu arrived at a military base near Lop Nur. Among them, besides Peng Jiamu, who is a paleontologist, there are also geologists, hydrologists, zoologists and chemists, etc. It can be said that this is a relatively strong research team. Unexpectedly, on June 5, 1980, this team became the first group in history to cross the dried-up Lop Nur Lake. Breaking a myth. No one dares to pass the test of this Devil's Lake. But the strange thing is, the survey team besides completing the miracle did not find anything. Peng Jiamu announced to set up camp on the spot. After a night of thinking, Peng Jiamu said that after all, bacteria only infect those who come here to steal graves and dig treasures. So the survey team should walk around the Lulan Kingdom's Silk Road to see what happens. And then the very next day, the team quickly set off. 2 days later, suddenly encountered a sandstorm, making the research team momentarily disoriented. In a situation where nothing can be seen, the only way is to keep moving forward. Fortunately, this sandstorm came and went quickly. When the sandstorm cleared, an amazing scene appeared that made everyone stunned. A person walking in front of the research group suddenly shouted, "It seems he has discovered something." When the rest of them arrived, they saw a very large structure. Although the buildings look very old, the scientists there believe that this is not the ruins of the ancient kingdom of Lulan. Because of its appearance using a special type of diamond they have never seen. At this time, the entire research team was amazed, and sent a distress telegram with a signal. It said, "At 8 p.m. today, we arrived at Kurukudak, 10 miles to the west. Currently lack of water, serious shortage of gasoline, please give emergency aid." Due to the extremely special situation, in the telegram Peng Jiamu also used a place that did not exist, Kurukudak, to inform the central government that such a huge discovery had been made. After sending the telegram, Peng Jiamu led the team back to the front of that huge structure. And then they discovered a passage. This road is long and narrow. There are sections that even have to be wriggled to pass. Before long, the research team came to a small room. This place is like the control room of this structure. Inside there are a lot of devices, control panels. Among them was a device that caught Peng Jiamu's attention. It is placed in the center of a set of machines. Although everyone was curious about the effect of this device, in the end decided to wait for the aid team to arrive before doing the experiment. However, that night, returning to the campsite, Peng Jiamu was awake and could not sleep. He couldn't contain his curiosity, and so while everyone was asleep, Peng Jiamu walked alone towards the building. Before leaving, he left a note telling everyone that he himself had gone east, looking for the water wells. That is the name that everyone agreed to give the building. But no one expected that, after Peng Jiamu entered the mysterious building, he accidentally touched the strange device. After a strong flash of light, the person in Peng Jiamu's mirror appeared. Facing the scene in front of him, no matter how rational Peng Jamu was, he could not control the fear in his heart. And then out of fear, he ran away from the scene. The next day, when the central government discovered Peng Jamu missing, it immediately sent the most advanced army to search for his traces. Because Peng Jamu's condition at that time was very special. Through discussion, the leadership decided to continue to announce to the outside that Peng Jamu is still missing. And the search mission on the ground has not stopped, because the leader is aware that this Lop Nur contains too many secrets. Hopefully the military can identify all the mysteries in this desert as soon as possible. At the same time, both the device and Peng Jamu were secretly transferred to an underground laboratory in Beijing. There, the researcher used fish as an experimental subject, continuing to study the mysterious device. And then they discovered that once the device was activated, it immediately reflected and copied another version of the being right next to it. So the device was named Pisces Jade. The strange thing is that the life being copied is the mirror body of the original life. If the original being had a mole on the left, then the mole of the copied life would be on the right. The most important thing is not knowing why the copied life with the original life produces a special connection. If one of the parties dies, the other will also die 7 hours later. Since Lop Nur really possessed too many secrets, in the end, the leadership ordered the best efforts to move everything related to the strange device. As for the things that cannot be moved, they will use the guise of testing nuclear bombs to erase all mysteries. And only left for people as a legend only. What do you think about Pisces Jade? Do you believe this really exists? Are more and more mysterious things appearing in front of you? If you like this, please share it with your friends, so they know these mysteries. Thank you very much. Hello and see you in the next videos.